Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining today. We'll begin with the presentation. My name is Vinay, and I'm business manager at NetraClouds, and I'll be your host today for this session. Um, just so you know, this session is gonna be recorded. So in case if you miss anything, do not worry, we'll share it with you. And I'm really excited to introduce Troy and Kristen, who are are expert from Vigil Senior Care Solution, and they'll be leading this discussion today. So I would like to invite Kristen on the floor.
Thanks very much, Vinay, and welcome, Michelle. Glad to see you here. Just to give a quick overview of what we're going to get accomplished in the next several minutes, we'll do a brief introduction of ourselves, and then we're going to leap in and talk about industry challenges, and we would like to make this interactive. So, Michelle, if you want to jump in and share your thoughts, that would be awesome. We're going to go through a solution overview and then sort of settle on talking about some case studies just around tech-enabled empowerment examples, and then we'll answer any questions. So without further ado, I'll start off and maybe Troy, introduce yourself, and then I'll introduce myself, and then we'll let Vinay go in there as well.
Good.
So
Great. Yeah, so I'm Troy Griffiths. I'm the head of Senior Care North America for Assa Abloy Senior Care, but also was the CEO of Vigil Solutions. We were acquired about 2.5 years ago. So over 26 years experience in senior care and technology, and part of a big multinational organization now that has access to a lot of really cool technology that hopefully is making a difference in seniors' lives and helping people provide better care.
Thanks very much, Troy. And I'm Kristen Moore, and I'm also seated here with Troy in the same office. We're actually based in Victoria. And I'm the Vice President of Sales for North America for Senior Care underneath the Assa Abloy Global Solutions umbrella. And then I'll pass it over to Vinay to introduce himself and NetraClouds, who's hosting this.
Thank you, Kristen and Troy, for a brief introduction. So as I introduced, I'll be giving you a brief about Netra family, what we do. So at Netra family, we are a complete leading system integration company and innovative IT solution provider. And if I talk about our ecosystem, so it all started in 2019 with NetraClouds in inception, and we expanded into NetraClouds and NetraShops. So to give you an overview and a range of our services, we are into system integration, where we specialize in integrating multiple technologies, then consulting services, where our team work very closely with the business to work on the tailored needs and build a solution around. And being a proud MSP, we provide 24/7 IT support and services to ensure your business runs without hiccup. And as we know, all the businesses are going towards cloud. We also have our cloud services, where we ensure you get a smooth transition and a safely and a scalable transition to the cloud environment. So these are the listed services. Sorry, can we just
go back? Sorry, yep.
So these are all the listed services under the NetraClouds family and NetraClouds family. So NetraClouds is more focused on the infrastructure and networking solutions, whereas NetraClouds is more on the MSP side of it. And under the NetraShops, you can get the access to a range of our products and services at your convenience. A wide range of solutions that we work is on the senior care solution side, where we have extensive solution built around with the help of Vigil, which we are going to discuss today, and Troy is going to drive us through the complete solution, and Kristen as well. Yeah, next. So these are the insights on our journey. So we started back in 2019, so it's been 5 glorious years where we have achieved successfully 200 plus projects, and we are proud to say that we have maintained 100% customer satisfaction in that. So this was a quick brief about Netra ecosystem. Now I would like to hand over this to the Vigil team. So Troy and Christine, the floor is all yours.
Great,
Thank
thanks
you.
very much, Vinay. So when we look at the senior care landscape today, one of the questions I really like to ask is, what are the biggest challenges that you as a provider are seeing? And Michelle, I don't know if you want to unmute and let us know kind of what your take is on some of the biggest challenges. I'll give a pause and then I'll sort of share what I see with your colleagues. So some of the biggest challenges out there, number one is staffing shortages. There's a large turnover of skilled staff. There's skills limitations that we're seeing, increasing costs. Everybody's budgets are getting stretched really thin. And I think the real question is, how can we do more with less? And so the discussions that providers need to have around the critical supports that are needed, it's really about how can we bridge the gaps that we're all facing today on the people side and yet improve the outcomes for not only the residents and their families, but to make it easier for the providers to exceed their goals. So what are those goals? Some of the main goals are, number one, we need to ensure that the residents are safe and secure. And we also want to increase resident and family members' peace of mind around the whole experience. We also need to be able to provide a demonstrated return on investment. That's key. And then how can we position our community as a technology leader and also distinguish ourselves from our competition? And at the end of the day, the main goal is really to just enable residents to live a much more fulfilling and convenient life.
Great. Thanks, Kristen. So I'll sort of take from here, just a little more on some of the details of our solutions. We have a lot of solutions. In fact, you can see from this slide that, in fact, we can do, when it comes to safety and security, everything from resident monitoring to hardwired or wireless call systems to electronic locks, wander prevention, resident check-in, the list goes on. And really, we're an enterprise solution tailor-made for senior living. And what we're going to talk about is a few case studies today, a little bit about where we've seen some success through our customers and how they've utilized the technology. And so we're an enterprise solution, but we also use the cloud. And so, as Vinay alluded to, the cloud is sort of everywhere. We take advantage of being on premise and having great technology in the building, but also leverage some of the great things the cloud can do, like mobile applications, connecting to dashboards, and even APIs to integrate to other systems. So a lot of capability, and I think that's one of the things we really pride ourselves on, is having a solution that is flexible. Whether your community is really small or very large, we can actually tailor our solution to meet your needs. So our customers, with that in mind, are sort of a broad range of customers, from big corporates who have multiple communities to standalones to people who target specific segments, whether it's more traditional nursing homes to standalone assisted living to big continuing care retirement communities. And again, our solution, as you'll see, is fairly broad, so it means that we can do the full solution to fit your needs. And so with that in mind, and I'll talk a bit more specifically about the technologies as they go on, I wanted to sort of talk about a couple case studies. The first one is sort of near and dear to my heart. It's a place here in Victoria, BC. It was actually the first installation we did back in 1998. So it was really the driver to creating the company. The little bit of history, the woman who found the technology was trying to build best-in-breed, small house, community-style living for people with memory impairment. And so she traveled the world and saw all kinds of technologies. And when she was down in Australia, she found this neat product called Vigil. That product used passive sensors to determine if a resident was outside of a safe behavior and call for help. And it just fit so well with the philosophy she was trying to instill that through some discussions, we actually saw the opportunity being even bigger than this one place and created a company that 26 years later is still helping make differences in the lives of seniors. And so this community, they needed that solution for their small cottages. They wanted it to be home-like, and they had a bigger campus, so they needed something that could scale. So what they were looking for was something that could especially help with that bigger footprint. So it was all on one story and spread out, and they needed to keep to their staffing minimums. And so what we provided was our memory care system, but also a hybrid wireless call system to allow more traditional calls to be made, as well as some staff to rest options. And it allowed them to deliver care where and when it was needed. And they've been a customer for over 26 years, still are, and we're able to keep their technology up to date just by things like keeping the software up to date and being able to scale in new products as they make sense for them. So we'll talk about a little bit about some specifics. The memory care system I alluded to, very unique. It's something that we're known for globally. It's something we're really the only ones who are doing it this way. We use a passive sensor system where residents' behaviors, where they get outside of a safe behavior, send a message to staff to go check on them. And a typical Vigil-enabled room would have a motion sensor at the entry to the room, and then another one into the bathroom, and then a third one in the middle of the room. And these are collecting data all the time, passively, and then sending it back to the computer where the software, sophisticated software, knows if they're outside that safe behavior. That combines with a bed exit sensor and an optional incontinence sensor, which plug into a bed sensor outlet. And then finally, a staff cancel switch outside the door. And what this does is it basically creates the whole room is a passive way for a resident who doesn't know they need to get help. And so it's the equivalent of a pull string, but if I don't know to pull a string or push a button, this way I can get help when I'm maybe unsafe to self-toilet, or if I leave my room in hours that I shouldn't be, especially when we're on our lowest staffing complement in the evenings and nights. So it really is that extra set of eyes for staff. And some of our customers have said it allows them not to do their every 2-hour rounding and in fact deliver care where and when it's needed and actually attend to the residents as they're needing their help rather than potentially waking them up. So this is obviously one of our signature systems, and it really made a difference in this community and does many communities we're in. We also put in our Vitality Care system. So it's a wired wireless solution. So we put wired call stations bedside and bathroom, and then have a wireless network where they can use pendants. And the beauty of that, again, it's scalable. It ties into the same central equipment and platform, so they can take advantage of all the same reports that they would use for the memory care system. But it really is designed for senior living. So small form factor on the pendants. It allows us to put other devices. So whether it's traditional pull stations or call stations, but also those pendants I talked about. And the capability to have corridor lights if they wanted. So what we did, in fact, was we went back and retrofitted the existing, there was an old, more traditional skilled nursing building called the Hiscock at this campus. So we went back and put in more traditional nurse call system, but again, all on the same platform. They could really leverage that technology, and it was all certified to the UL CSA standard. So that's really that example. It's, again, the great customer, been a great customer for now 26 plus years, and still using the technology in a great way, making a difference in the lives of those seniors that live there. A more recent example, so something we've done in the last year, has been implementing a project with a corporate out of the United States called Benchmark. They needed a solution for their big, large urban high-rise. So they were building an affluent market just outside of Washington, D.C. They wanted to provide a home-like setting again, but wanted it to be sophisticated and integrate technology in seamless ways that would really resonate with the residents. And so fairly large, again, we did over 258 electronic locks, very similar to what you would see in a hotel, as well as 374 call devices. So a combination, again, of hardwired or wireless. And they were looking for that one vendor with world-class support. And so they had had some experiences with other vendors and hadn't been able to get the complete safety and security solution they were looking for. And when they'd gotten it, they'd had some challenges with the support. So that's what we brought to the table. It's something we really take pride in, is the quality of our support and being partners with our customers for as long as we have the chance to work with you. Our solution that we provided them was, as I mentioned, not only the wireless resident call system, but also electronic locks. In this case, we went with something called the signature locks. It's a VIN card solution. And that really gave them a complete interoperable solution with one single support line and one single sort of customer interaction to deal with. All got implemented. They also use not only do they use the 374 call devices and electronic locks, they're using our Vigil mobile app for the staff. So the staff are able to get calls and communicate with each other through the mobile app. Specific to the locking, they went with the VinCard signature lock, which is, again, very traditional to what you would see in some of your high-end hotels. It allows you to use a credential, and you'd be more familiar with a key card, but I'll talk about the credentials a bit, but they'd use a fob typically and access the door. So no fumbling around with keys, no issues with rekeying, and a really nice interface for seniors, especially opening the doors is much easier for them, especially as they age. We were able to also combine that with some other electronic locking solutions, and that's everything from remote readers at the outside of the buildings to elevator controls to your more traditional exit devices like a delayed egress where you're pushing the crash bar to get out and alerting both the nurse call system, but also being able to tie that into the same credentials. There is a variety of access options, those credentials I talked about, everything from an integrated watch strap or strap to key cards, less often used in senior care, to be honest. Fobs are very often used, as well as for maybe your more sophisticated resident. You could look at mobile access through an app. But what differentiates us and sort of makes us different is we have the universal wearable. So we have a device that can both raise calls as well as open the door. So that nice convenience, again, we were looking for. So the residents don't have to have multiple things. They can have a wrist-worn call device that they can also use to open their door. Very convenient and very efficient. Software, similar to where we started, mentioning about that we have on-premise solutions. We also have cloud solutions. So depending on the community, the needs, we're very flexible in terms of providing the right solution for the right community. And pride ourselves both in terms of electronic locking, but again, the same system I talked about at Heritage Woods that we've continued to invest in, and it's innovated, where that was the same system we just put in with new enhancements in the benchmark property. So similarly, using a lot of the same technology, the call stations, the check-ins, the resident pendants. And so this infrastructure is all built into the sort of seamlessly into the background. It allows you to add wireless devices seamlessly. There's no need for additional power supplies. It's all through a central power supply, which means that you'll be able to, even if your power goes out, if it's on generator backup, it'll be tied to a UPS. And it's all very supervised. So it's there for the safety of the residents, and it makes sure that it meets all the standards, both the UL 1069 and the UL 2560 standards. So you can feel comfortable knowing it's safe. And I mentioned Vigil Mobile. So again, it's a really easy to use light app that goes on iOS or Android devices, and it will allow the staff to see where calls are coming from. And that's something, again, Benchmark took advantage of. They like the idea of being able to do not only get their calls here, but they're also doing some of their charting on the same device. So again, minimizing the number of devices that, whether it's the staff in this case, or in the case of the one wearable, the residents have to take care of. And all of this leads into a bunch of great reporting. And so I could go through all sorts of different reports, but the capability of the reporting is you can drill down into individual residents, and so you can have communications with family members on, how much you've been providing care to their loved one, and the times of day. You can work with your staff to ensure that they're being responsive in the call response times. You can check on check-ins. So there's a lot of sophistication around the reportings, and it can be done through the on-prem solution, or as well, it can be done in the cloud. And so that's just a high-level overview of the solutions, especially in a couple cases that we did. And I think hopefully give you some insights into the flexibility we could have, but by no means is it comprehensive. We have a lot more solutions. And Kristen's going to talk a little bit about some of our other innovations that I think might be interesting to you in terms of some of the different ways we're applying technology.
Yeah, thanks, Troy. I think one of the big benefits of being part of the ASSA ABLOY family now is we get to leverage some of the just really neat innovation that is happening, not only here in North America, but also in Europe, and seeing where there might be a fit for that here. So one of the things that I think is going to have the biggest impact, especially for retrofits of existing facilities, is the VinCard novel lock. And this is something that is going to be incredibly easy to install in any standard door, whether it's existing or new. This is one of the only ones that has a cylindrical lock in it, and so that ability to retrofit out is going to be key. It's really engineered to withstand the test of time, and it makes it suitable for not only indoor but also outdoor usage. And again, just being able to use the fobs with this, and then on the long-term benefits, reducing maintenance time and costs due to fewer moving parts and just the fact that it's got some really robust electronics in there. One of the other innovations, and we're seeing this a lot in the US, where they have cottages or smaller facilities instead of like a large centralized resident configuration, where now we want to be able to really connect our vitality system to all of the buildings or other cottages. And this uses the same vitality wireless devices that you were seeing earlier, but you can have that anywhere on campus. So it's an outdoor mesh network that just, again, keeps that safety in mind and at the forefront for our residents. And then finally, we've got that silver tsunami that is much more comfortable with technology that's going to start coming into our various residences, and they want to have the apps. And so being able to use Vigil Connect on their iPhones or Android devices, and again, just ease of use and using technology that they're already familiar with. So we're going to see more of this coming into the buildings that we work in.
And so just sort of nearing close here, just some of the reasons that people work with us and hopefully the difference that we make in terms of making sure that we're a great partner is we focus on service excellence. And I mentioned that earlier, and that's why our customer of 26 years is still a customer. We make sure we continue to take care and provide excellent customer service all the way through, whether it's initially in sales work we do, but then on the implementation, and then of course the ongoing support. We're always innovating, and Kristen mentioned that. Not only are we innovating here in North America, but we are now part of a larger organization that is innovating and buying innovative companies. So expect to see more cool technology coming out that's really, again, purpose-built for senior care, applying the best of the best to make sure that we can help you guys do the best job possible and focus on high touch. And then finally, we have solutions for the full continuum of care. So that means we can actually take care of every level of care you might have today, or even the ones you consider in the future. And so that can be pretty powerful, all on one platform, all reported through the same strong software. And so sort of near closing here, our solutions really do help. We believe we keep residents safe and secure. We help increase resident and family satisfaction. They get a better outcome, and it's typically in a much quieter, more home-like community. We've given return on investment. We actually did a study, a group out of Ohio, who basically installed our memory care system and found they filled beds faster and kept them full longer through having that. We help position communities as leaders in technology. And again, it's a partnership. So we try to make sure we provide the right technology that gives great care, and that makes everybody happy. And then ultimately, our goal is to make residents' lives better, more fulfilling, more convenient, and safer. So that's what we try to do. And this is what our customers say. And so we would normally open this up to questions, but I think today we don't have enough time for questions. So we'll leave it there. And then if there's any questions following up, I think Vinay can then maybe get some feedback from the various people who have questions, and we'll circle back and make sure we answer anything that you have to say. So with that said, we want to thank you.
Thanks, Troy and Kristen. So we'll open the floor for our Q&A. We'll have 5 minutes for that. And I see we have a question. What is the life of the pendants?
The life of the pendant, it can vary, but it's a minimum 1-year warranty, and then they can last anywhere from 1 year to, we have some that are out 5+ years. Yeah. So typically will depend on the usage and the residents, how strong the residents are.
Thanks, Troy. So we have a next question coming in. about the integrations.
Mm-hmm. So we've got a variety of integrations to various systems, whether it's, and so what we would typically do is look at a customer's needs and see where it makes sense. We can integrate with traditional smoke detectors, fire alarm systems if required. We just really, and integrate with door systems, of course. We'd really want to look, and then on a more sophisticated side, it can be point of care systems where it makes sense. So we just really want to work with the customer to make sure we're doing, giving them the right information that they need and allowing them to have a good connection between their safety and security system and other systems in the building.
Thanks, Troy. Do we have other more questions, or?
I think that looks like it's it, Vinay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks everybody for your time.
In case if you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to us, and definitely our team will get back to you with a solution. And with this, I would like to thank everyone, and a special thanks to Troy and Christian for giving your valuable time and sharing all the insights with us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vinay.
Appreciate
Thanks, everyone.
Take care. Have a good day.
Thank you.